to
I'm not getting much communication from the
first class. Have you seen a more beautiful ticket? I personally have, but they weren't first class. All right, British Airways, first class. I am so excited. So this ticket would have normally cost around $13,000 or 10,000 British pounds. Now there's a lot you can do with that money, but today I'll be flying British Airways first class. So right now I'm walking towards British Airways, the first class lounge. There are two lounges. There's the first class lounge and the Concorde Lounge. The Concorde Lounge is only accessible if you're flying first class with British Airways. The first class lounge, you can access it if you have status with British Airways, if you have One World Emerald status, or if you're flying first class with another airline. And since I booked a first class cabin directly with British Airways, I'm not going to be dining with the peasants. I'm going straight to the Concorde Lounge. And they have some really expensive stuff in the Concorde Lounge. Now there's really nothing that you have to pay more for and get less than a plane ticket. So I'm going to try to get all my money's worth. And at the very front, you can even store your luggage with them if you want to. I opted for the balcony seating. You can see the terrace, it's so nice. You have a wonderful view of the airport and it's just a really nice place to relax. And up top, you also have the screens to check up on your flight as well. So let's just head back to my seat. And of course, I will order as much as I can before I get on that flight.
Try red wine or white wine, sir? Or you want to go for a champagne? Most of the passengers drink champagne, that is Pommery.
So I assume this is the most expensive?
It is, sir.
Okay, sure, I'll try that one then.
Thank you.
The champagne was amazing, and it tasted even better after using the lounge's Wi-Fi to look up the price. So I ordered a chicken liver parfait as well as an eggs benedict. Although it was lunchtime, they were still able to accommodate my eggs benedict. I also wondered to myself how expensive the eggs are just to get that bright orange color. For my next course, I opted to move to a table. The fries were pretty good, but I felt like it needed more salt. And the burger was also good, but it was missing some cheese. Next up is the lobster bisque and pesto linguine. That pesto linguine was the best pesto-based pasta I ever had. So before I got some desserts, I ordered a bar menu cocktail, and they were so nice that they added the Johnny Walker Blue Label shots into my espresso martini. Although I went with the Johnny Walker Blue Label, there are a lot of expensive distilled liquors that you can choose from. I did try some more on the plane, but for now I'm just sticking with the Blue Label. I also got a little visitor, so you can bird watch and plane watch at the same time. And for dessert, I basically just ordered everything off the menu. This chocolate mousse was so good, the cherries were also very good. None of the desserts were too sweet, they all had the right amount of sugar, and they were all so flavorful. Finishing off my time at the lounge, I got the banoffee pie and some raspberries with some whipped cream and meringue. This has been one hell of experience at the lounge. I must say this is probably the best experience I ever had in a lounge to date. And I'll be getting on the plane after this. The lounge experience is a big part of air travel nowadays. Do show up early, 2 or 3 hours just to enjoy the lounge. And not all lounges are created equal either, so some lounges are better than others, so you will have to do research on what lounge you can access and which ones are worth visiting. The Concorde Lounge is one of the best lounges in the world, so absolutely, if you have a first class ticket with British Airways, you need to visit the Concorde Lounge. Now, of course, you can also take a shower here if you wanted to, but I took a shower just this morning, so I'll be heading straight to the plane. So one unusual part of the experience was that I had to take a shuttle to the plane. There was no direct boarding from the airport. I guess all the slots were filled and they just didn't have any room or something like that. But I find it very unusual that they have a first class offering, but I still have to take a shuttle to the plane. So I really do hope that they fix that in the future. The plane I'll be flying today will be the 787-9 from London Heathrow to Mexico City. And all the first class cabins, they were all fully booked. So go figure.
Hello.
Your seat number?
2E.
There it is. First class in all its glory. I do apologize for my finger. I promise I'll get better recording skills. Guys, I am only 25 years old and it feels amazing to be sitting in the seat right now. I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have all the resources to be able to sit here. And I see the flight attendant coming with my PJs and my Amenity Kit. Let's just take a moment just to appreciate all this legroom. So I'm going to show a little around the seat, but I'm also going to tell a little story which I'm sure you guys can all relate to. The first time when I flew, I was like super young, but the first time where I remembered it was a flight to Shanghai. And I would always ask my parents how come we didn't book the nice seats, and the answer was always the same, because they were super expensive, and if you want to book the seats you will have to pay for it. And I can just say it's been one hell of experience getting up to this point. You know, flying first class, even my first time flying business class, it felt really good because it felt like you moved up in life a little bit. And what's the best part about flying this cabin is that I didn't pay very much money for it at all. So the people who's sitting in economy, there are several people who paid more for their seats than I did for my first class cabin. So you can see I'm trying out the headphones that's provided in the cabin. These headphones are not very good. I think they're definitely on the lower ends compared to the competitors. So I think I'll just be putting them away and just be using my own Sony headphones. So we have a very spacious storage compartment that also doubles as a footrest. So that's where I'll be putting most of my stuff. And then we'll be looking at the seat controls. So the seat controls were not as intuitive as I thought it would be. It took me around 20 minutes just to figure everything out. But what you have to do is you have to press the buttons and then turn the knob to turn it on or off, or to recline your chair, or to undo the recline. But we are going to take off soon, and I'm actually really excited for the British Airways safety video. This was my first time watching it, and I can definitely say that this is one of the better safety videos that I have seen.
I must confess, a sentiment of the most tender nature.
Welcome, everyone. We will now demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft, and your attention is essential, as this may be different from any aircraft that you've flown on before.
Do I smell the winds of war? I see smoke on the horizon.
Smoking, including e-cigarettes, vaping, and the use of other smoking devices, is not permitted at any time whilst on board.
What witchcraft is this? The painting! It moves!
Larger devices, including laptops, must be switched off and placed in your luggage for takeoff and...
Or perchance a celestial contrivance navigating the skies?
No, ma'am. That's a British Airways A350.
I must say that was one of the better safety videos that I have seen. Anyways, moving on to the IFE, the in-flight entertainment system. I don't really like British Airways IFE system. The main reason is because it does have very limited touchscreen interactivity. So for most of your browsing, they insist that you use the remote to browse all the shows and movies that you want to watch. So although I was able to touch the screen to close the travel map, unfortunately, if I want to see my movies, everything like that, I will have to use the remote, and sometimes, you know, it's just not really the most optimal way of searching through things. I really do wish that I do get that touchscreen interactivity with that main screen rather than having to do everything on such a small remote. In terms of entertainment themselves, I did feel like they were a bit limited in their offerings, but it could just be of how much more difficult it is to search for shows using the remote rather than just seeing all their offerings straight up on a big screen. So my pre-meal snack has arrived, but I'm going to look at the bathroom now, and then we're going to look at the meal service afterwards. Across all the 787s with Boeing, it looks like the lavatories are pretty much all the same. The only really differentiating feature is the creams, the brand name for the creams and the lotions, the soaps. So overall, I can't really say there's that much difference. So I guess if you really want a nice lavatory, you just had to fly a Airbus A380 in business or first class. Moving on, we're going to go look at the menu. Now, you're probably wondering why the camera quality is, not as good as it should be. So this is the Insta360 Go 3S. So this is really my first time trying out the camera. I just assumed that it was going to be better than the iPhone. I was wrong. There are conditions where this is better than the iPhone, but I did not record under those conditions. I also do apologize for my finger getting in the way. I'll read out everything that I'm going to eat later on in the video, but I will get better on knowing when to use my iPhone to record versus my Insta360 Go S, and I just recently got the newest iPhone, so hopefully my videos will even be of higher quality in the future. So moving on with the menu, I want to start off with the drinks. So the champagne that's served on the flight is not as expensive as the one served in the Concorde Lounge. So definitely you want to fill up on the Concorde Lounge champagne. But you do get the more expensive distilled liquors like the Johnny Walker Blue Label and the Don Julio 1942 Tequila, just to name a few. Now for the food. So for my snacks, I have some beef carpaccio. That is a tiger prawn. And then the third item was pretty interesting. It was celery root with British pecorino, and it's topped off with truffle. And one thing I was not expecting is that if you order tea, you actually get the whole teapot. So that was a really nice surprise, and this is a very nice porcelain. So they served it to you with fine china, but the tea was still in tea bag form. I really would have preferred loose tea instead. Another big issue was that the tea bags were plastic, so that's really another thing that they could improve on. If they're going to serve in tea bags, please at least let it be paper, but I think loose tea is what they should serve in first class. But the tea was very good. Now for the amenity kit by Elemis. There's actually a lot of things in here. We have some socks, a face mask, earplugs, comb, a really nice pen in my opinion, a dental kit, some deodorant, and some collagen infused creams, as well as a shaving cream and face exfoliant as well. And then we also have a little discount code from Elemis if we want to use that. I probably won't use it, but if you guys want to, go ahead. I think it's time now for me to change into my pajamas. They are fairly comfortable, but I can't really say that they're better than the ones I have at home. Now, I just want to take the time to admire the legroom that I have received on this flight. I am able to sleep on my side very, very comfortably with this much legroom. That's a problem with most business class seat, is that the screen will prevent your leg from moving, and then you're kind of just stuck sleeping on your back. I prefer to sleep on my side. So before I get on with my main meal, I just want to test out the Wi-Fi. So all first class passengers, they all get Wi-Fi for free, as they should. I feel like business class passengers should also get the Wi-Fi for free. But doing the speed test, you can see it's a fairly decent speed. I also think that this speed is almost enough, or I think the speed is enough for 4K streaming as well. I'm not too sure on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Now that I'm going straight into dinner service, I got the truffled Cornish chicken and leek terrain en croûte, whatever. It's basically just chicken with some pastry, and you can see that there's some truffle on the side and some fancy mushrooms as well. And of course, on my side, I have a bread basket if I don't have enough empty calories, and a really nice glass of champagne. Before moving on to my entree, I decided to get some rooibos tea. I really like drinking tea on an airplane because it does give you that humidity that you really need on a dry plane. But again, I really do hate plastic tea bags, so often what I will do is just bring my own tea leaves and just ask the flight attendant, just pour hot water over my loose tea. So moving on to my main course, I got the West Country British beef with a bone marrow butter crust, carrot puree, and bordelaise juice, or bordelaise sauce. Now, I actually regretted ordering this. The meat was a bit tough, and I believe this was a tenderloin cut. So there was no fat, no marbling on the beef. In my opinion, I think tenderloin is probably the most overrated cut that people actually pay money for. I believe it's also the most expensive, and I have no idea why. I much rather prefer a fatty strip loin over a fatless tenderloin with no flavor. After finishing up the beef, the flight attendant recommended some Don Julio 1942 Añejo tequila. This will be paired with my dessert, which would be a vanilla ice cream with some figs and an almond cake. And I have flown many flights by now, and I can tell you the dessert is usually something that every single airline gets right. It's really easy to store, it's easy to serve cold, and virtually no airline ever messes up desserts. Now, I recommend doing this on really any expensive first class ticket. Typically, they'll have a bunch of expensive, top shelf liquors, and you can just go through the menu and just try them all out, which is what I'm going to be doing. So since I have Wi-Fi, I went through all the lists and I checked all the liquors that's over $100 and I basically just try them all out. But I think in this video, I only showed around 5: the champagne in the lounge, the champagne on the flight, the Don Julio, the Singleton, and then the XO Cognac. Oh. Wow. I personally don't like alcohol all that much. I never really buy it for myself, but if it's included in the ticket price, take advantage of it. It's a really good perk. So after the tasting, I had the flight attendant make my bed. It was very comfortable, very soft. The blankets were lightweight and warm as well. And this pretty much concludes my British Airways first class video. Now, my intention was actually to wake up a few hours before and just try out some more of that Singleton single malt whiskey. But I just fell asleep because the bed was just that comfortable, and I ended up waking like 40 minutes to landing, so I didn't really have much time to do anything else. This was also the first time where I was able to sleep comfortably on the plane, mainly because of my ability to sleep on my side. The flight attendant was also so generous enough to give me the female version of the Amenity Kit, so I'll be showing that to you guys in my hotel room in Mexico. The difference between the male and the female Amenity Kits are quite minimal. The first one of notice is just the design of the bag. So instead of that royal purple, you just get this nice flowery kit. And then instead of the shaving gel, you get some nail cream and you get face mist and a mirror. That was British Airways. I really did enjoy my experience. The service was very nice. I tried a lot of expensive booze, something that I would never pay for myself. My next plans is Lufthansa and Qatar Airways Q suites, but I also do want to do some more vlogging on the ground as well. I think there's enough Asian people, reviewing premium cabins. I don't know why it's always Asian men doing this kind of stuff, but it was one hell of an experience. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to fly British Airways first class. I'm even really grateful for the opportunity to fly business class for as low of a cost as I was able to get them. None of this would have been possible if it weren't for the online resources that I took advantage of. And if you just want to learn how to do this yourself, you can just do a quick Google search. There's like tons of resources on how to get these business class, first class flights for really cheap, all using credit card points. Unfortunately, this is only available if you're Canadian or a US citizen because of how credit card works in these two countries. If you live anywhere else, it might still be doable, but not to the same extent that we can do it here in Canada and the US. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to catch you all in the next video very soon.